All right, moving on. Let's go back to the big board, ladies and gentlemen, here on Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. You are watching on the Rickcast X channel, platform, handle, account. That's the word. The Rickcast account. If you're watching on X and you are not subscribed or you're not following it, please do me a favor, hit that follow button on X so we can grow the audience there, so we can make sure that you are aware when we go live on the X platform. Also Rumble, YouTube, and on the Instagram, hanging out on all of these places tonight. Glad you guys are hanging out with me on the 2nd of January, 2025. And we just hit 101 watching right now, which is great because most of those people are coming from X. Welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We just talked about the New Orleans updates. They're pretty much scrubbing all this. The idea is that there were multiple people working. It was just him, came from Houston, the Houston mosque that he attended. They said, don't ask us questions. Go to the Council of Islamic Relations, which is a little weird, but that's because we know that most of those mosques have a heavy pipeline. And if you are shocked that there is a heavy Islamic presence in Houston, you've never been to Houston. Houston has a huge Islamic population. My brother-in-law was down there when he was stationed in the military, and right near the Catholic church we would go to on Sunday, about 2 streets down, was a huge mosque, huge. And so not a shock that Houston has a massive Islamic population that he would drive to, radicalize him. Apparently he lost his job, and that's why he was going to New Orleans for a new job. And he's a complete and total loser. As we can all see, he is now dead. But that is what's going on in NOLA. They're trying to move on with all of the stuff that were taking place there. They had a walk, and then they're doing a bunch of the symbolic stuff. Jeff Landry apparently stepped in it last night. I don't have the tweet, but he went out to dinner and posted it. He was like, I went out to dinner in New Orleans, and everybody's going, read the room, Landry, you're pretty good on a lot of stuff. But going out to dinner is not a good look when your city is under attack. But hey, I guess we're all finding out how quickly the governance of Louisiana is not very good. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that and try to be as kind as possible. Let us move on, ladies and gentlemen, to the next topic of today's show here on Rickcast. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Greatly appreciate it. Especially you guys who are following on the Rickcast X account. We are talking about Las Vegas, and boy, woo-wee, this one. You know, the NOLA attack has all the hallmarks of a classic Muslim attack. So there's not a lot of questions to be asked except, how could you know that this guy was on Facebook and on social media saying he wanted to have a war between believers and non-believers and all this other stuff? And they were like, yeah, cool, man. Cheers. But the Vegas one, Steph, you're right. The more information that's coming out about the Vegas attack incident, can we even classify as an attack now? Because it's very strange. And to start that, let's go with the press conference from the Las Vegas PD.
Wasn't able to be removed for a very long period of time because he was burnt beyond recognition. And so as we continue to move through this, I'm going to talk a little bit about his identity and what we believe, but I would like to highlight a couple of things that the teams found inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that, first and foremost, is a military identification. We also found a passport.
Hold on. Time out. So there was a massive explosion inside the Cybertruck. The guy is burned beyond belief, but the military ID survived? A little weird.
We found a Desert Eagle 50 caliber semi.
Why does this guy have a Desert Eagle 50 cal? This is a Desert Eagle 50 cal is a gun that you buy and you keep in your safe, and when your buddies come by, you show it off. There's no practical uses for a 50 cal pistol. It is a gun that somebody who is setting something up, wink, would think makes a good gun at this. Oh yeah, this will impress people. He has a 50 cal pistol. You ask anybody in the gun community, they go, nobody serious is using a 50 cal pistol unless they're trying to shoot down Japanese Zeros. Outside of that, they have no practical purposes. But this is the gun that survived, although the man didn't survive. It gets better, folks. But wait, there's more.
Automatic pistol. And if you'll notice on a lot of these guns,
this is a short barreled. I think it's I think it's an actual SBR. Yeah, it's an SBR 30 AR pattern rifle is what they're calling it.
That we're going to talk about here. They're almost just burnt beyond recognition as well.
No, we all can see that that's an AR style rifle.
There's a SLR model B30 semi-automatic firearm. Number of fireworks that were still in the vehicle that had to be removed. Notably, we found an iPhone and a smartwatch, and then several credit cards were also in the name of our subject.
The subject's name is Matthew Livensberger. And Matthew Livensberger, yeah, he is the man who they are telling, and I'm going to say this, they are telling you that he was the one who drove to the Trump building, and he is the one that is the one who supposedly blew this up. They didn't say it here, but he apparently drove up to the Trump building, parked the car, and then ended himself, deleted himself. And it's very interesting. Mr. Guns and Gear pointed this out. He watched the video, that famous video that's out there a couple times of the explosion, which everybody can get access to. There's no flash in the car. Also, I know the windows are pretty tough, but a 50 cal pistol going off in an enclosed area is going to have some kind of concussive blast. And that is not, that's going to at least crack the windows, going to have some kind of impact on the windows, which is another weird thing. So he goes to the Trump building, he parks, and then he deletes himself. Strange, a little bit strange, yeah. Using a Desert Eagle, because it's, I don't think you can't use the AR to do it. The paper passport and the military ID survived the incident. He didn't because he's burned beyond recognition, but they did, which is just a little strange because they found the gunshot wound to the head. And so people are asking, what is going on with this entire investigation? Because there's a lot of questions. There are more questions that are being asked at this point. I had to let me find this and bring this up real quick. With this, and thank you to Proud Army Brat, which I'll bring up right now, for finding out these additional screenshots on X. Go follow them for that information. Check out some of these photos. So there's your Cybertruck on the way to the Trump Tower. This is the result of the Cybertruck after the explosion. Completely and utterly. I mean, they took off the doors and everything, but a paper ID and a passport survived this, but he didn't. Okay, very interesting on that. And then finally, there's the photo of the Desert Eagle that apparently survived, which was kind of stupid, but that is what it is. Now, let's go back to the big board. I have some more information because Lou brought this up right there. Oh, no. Yeah, right here. His parents were quoting that said he loved Trump. Yes, Mark, I'm getting to that right now. Mark's bringing up a really good point. But But let's get to this first, because you guys are way ahead of me and I love it. Thank you for hanging out with me and being a part of the show. Let me know what you're thinking. Jump in with the comments on X, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever. Let me know what you're thinking about that. So he drives up. Drives up is a loaded term at this point, because is it automated? Did he do it? Was he already deceased when he pulled up to the Trump Tower? Nobody knows. And interestingly enough, you know who could easily answer all this? One Elon Musk. Elon Musk could answer this question because they record everything in those cars. They got video and everything in those cars. So, reported gunshot wound before the explosion. The body is burned or reported unidentifiable. Bomb setup was uncharacteristic of his training, which we'll get to in a moment. That's Dr. Strangelove on Twitter. And then Mr. Guns and Gear notices this. He notices this little cherry on top. So, the day after the explosion, his safety number and the photo were changed on his Signal account. If you have a Signal account, you know what that is. You'll see people randomly be like, your safety number has changed. And it's like, okay. So let me bring this up right now. This has been floating around and I don't have it today, but apparently the New Orleans attacker and our man from Vegas both went to Fort Bragg. Now, of course, people are like, they went together, they trained together. Let's just be real. The population of Fort Bragg is about 6,900 people are there. So it's not like a college dorm. People are acting like, it's like when I tell people I'm from Rhode Island, they go, oh, do you know so-and-so? No, I don't know Johnny from Coventry. Just because I lived in Rhode Island. But people are bringing up the fact that, oh man, they both went to Bragg. This is an operation. It's the military. It's compromised. Now, granted, I will agree that the military has gotten sucked into a web of garbage and nonsense because of the requirements of DEI and white fragility and all these other things we've seen, Lloyd Austin and all these people. And lately, it's been proven that just because somebody is in the military does not mean that they are super conservative. So let's get to this next one right here. So this is to Lose Point from The Independent. Hopefully y'all can see that as I go along on the big board. The family of the accused Trump hotel truck incident, Matthew Liebensberger, said he was a big Trump supporter. The uncle told The Independent that he was confused by the explosion because his nephew could rig a bomb to blow up half the hotel if he really wanted to do any kind of damage. He used to have all patriotic stuff on Facebook. He was 100% in love with the country. His ex-wife posted some TDS stuff in 2016. Nothing since then. So any reports on that, not as, I don't want to say credible, but I don't believe it's not as important as some would say. He loved Trump. He was always very, very patriotic, a patriotic American. It's one of the reasons he was in special forces for so many years. It wasn't just one tour of duty. Mark, who was in contact? If you want to just let me know what you're talking about. I'm not doubting you. I just need a little more information on that. Matt was a very skilled warrior. He would be able to make, if it was him and he did this, wouldn't have been able to make more sophisticated explosives that use propane tank and camping fuel. Some of it doesn't make sense when he had the skills and the ability to make something more, let's say, efficient. His skills were enormous from what he had been taught in the military. I did not know that. I did not know that the two were actually in contact via phone. Thank you for that. If you have a link or something like that, I'd love to take a look at it just for my own benefit. But see, I didn't know that. I just thought that they happened to go to Bragg at different points and in my research. But there's so much stuff being kind of like birdshot all over the place that it's kind of tough to keep everything in line. And finally, he could have fashioned a bomb that would have obliterated half the hotel if he seriously wanted to. So this gives the rise to something. I'll throw it out there. There's nothing behind this. This is just something because, when you try to put things together in your head. Guy supposedly from Colorado Springs. Had a baby, supposedly. Brand new baby. Could it be because if you watch the video before the blast, when the Cybertruck's in the way, the driveway, there's no flash that would indicate a gunshot happening then. Secondly, people in our chat room, and you can join us, please join us. Let me know what you're thinking on X or on Instagram or whatever the case may be. What would it make sense, or could it be that this guy was killed beforehand, burned beforehand, because his body was burned beyond recognition, put in the truck, programmed to go to Trump Tower, and it stopped, bomb was remote detonated? Because and then now you have the perfect patsy to start another not race war, but more division, and it gives the FBI credence to say, look, right-wing terror. You have right-wing terrorists. He was a Trump supporter. He loved Donald Trump, and yet he tried to blow up Trump in a Tesla. I'm not a very smart man, and I came up with that pretty quick. Of course, you guys assisted me via the help with the chat room, but it's not completely out of reach to assume that could be a possibility. Tesla's one of the only vehicles that could self-drive to a point and then park, because nothing else fits with that guy. This guy seems to have been set up to be a patsy. And there's an account on Twitter that I've been following where what's his name? There's a Green Beret Nap Time. He recently made the E8 list for the MSG in 2023 in an 18Z slot. I don't know any of this stuff, so please forgive me if I sound like an idiot. I'm just kind of reading this from former military people. I'll bring it up for you guys so you don't just look at my ugly face for 5 minutes. Let's see here. Go back. Hey, I'm a one-man show, baby. Let's see. Let's get that up. Green share to Green Beret Nap Time. All right, now we're here. You're with me here. Right? We're good. Let's get that. So you can find him on Twitter if you are looking for him, if you want to read more, because this guy's gone down an absolute rabbit hole. Green Beret Nap Time, GBNT 1952. A lot we don't know about Matthew Lebensberg, the alleged Vegas bomber, but here's what we do know, and there's a lot that does not add up. He recently made an E8 list for MSG in 2023, 18Z slot, which means he was Special Forces soldier, and if pinned, would have still been on active duty. This also means he was well within his team sergeant time. Don't know what that means. If you know what that means, throw it in the chat room and help everybody out, because I can't help you on that one. He was an E18 Special Forces Communications Sergeant, and then went to Fox Course to become 18F Intelligence Sergeant before making the E8 list. A lot of letters, a lot of numbers, don't know what it means. He was also apparently was small unmanned aircraft systems qualified, which implies he had training as a drone pilot. This Twitter user is submitting that and a FOIA request for his military records, but that'll probably take some time, if ever. Rented the Cybertruck from Turo, the same company that the NOLA terrorists used. I went through that yesterday. Why it would be a good idea if you were a terrorist to use something like the Turo app, because it is anonymous. The back of the, which means you could have rented it, thrown a dead body in it, programmed it, and sent it off, and nobody would have been the wiser. Just saying. Just saying. The back of the truck was full of mortar, fireworks, gasoline canisters, and camping fuel canisters, which are all combustible, but would not be ideal for an explosion to create maximum damage. Here's the crazy part. With the level of experience that he had, how does it make sense that he would rent a Cybertruck, which are known to be bulletproof, filled with ineffective explosives that would not actually cause much damage? The front windows of the building did not even break. The other crazy part is his wife, Sarah Lebensberg, has multiple anti-Trump posts on her social media from years and years ago. So if he was radicalized, if this was all an attempt to hurt people and destroy a Trump building, why would he have gone about it in such an incompetent and ineffective manner? These are all questions that are coming, and that doesn't fit. Yesterday was very easy to say, oh, there was an explosion in NOLA and there was an explosion in Vegas. These have to be connected. It just makes too much sense. But as the Las Vegas, and we know, as talking about yesterday, the Las Vegas PD is not exactly known for being very truthful, honest, or upfront with all of their information, are going to only give you as much as possible. So you have that information, and it is very, very strange. It's just one of these things that nobody, yeah, it does seem like B-grade terrorism. And it does seem like this guy, patriotic, pro-Trump, special forces dude, would be a great patsy to set up the DOJ saying right-wing terrorism, right-wing terrorism, right-wing terrorism. Look, right-wing terrorism and Islamic terrorism are joining forces, right? You could, all of these things could easily be put together so they could easily say, oh, we need to update the Patriot Act. We need Patriot Act 2.0. We need more controls. We need to be able to control the cyber trucks so that way they can't go to these places. All I know, and it's not much, but thank you for watching, is that the government will never let a crisis, and the thing that happened in NOLA and the thing that happened in Vegas and the things that seem to be happening all over this union, all of these things seem to be adding up to Trump, come in and save us. Do whatever you got to do. You know, we don't care. We just want to be safe.